Hi, welcome to the F1 Time Portal, a Formula One history podcast started by two rousing Formula One fans. I'm your host, Rosa.
And I'm your boy crush, Wuthering Heights host, Luigi. And today we're taking you back to the 1978 season, part 3. Let's go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I've just learnt something new about you, Luigi.
Is that too much? I mean, you went off track a bit, so I went off track a bit.
Yeah, I got confused about what I was saying.
Yeah.
You have given away a bit of a little clue about young Luigi.
I mean, she was a special-looking person, and the music was pretty good too. But you know what I'm talking about, right? Wuthering Heights. Yeah.
Kate Bush. Yes. Yeah. She was a bit, I'm surprised she's in the, I pegged her as an 80s kind of person.
Yeah. No, she had her big hits in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah. Because she did Running Up That Hill, right?
Yeah. Running Up That Hill. Oh, she had
and that was
3 or
80s.
4 big hits.
Yeah.
Running Up That Hill was
definitely. Oh, I'm pretty sure it is. But anyway, we won't look it up. We won't spoil future things for you. So you had a bit of a crush on Kate Bush.
Yeah, I think lots of people did.
Well,
of all genders.
I had a crush on Heathcliff from Wuthering Heights, which I think a lot of girls did.
What, there was a man?
Yeah, Heathcliff was like
clip?
the brooding. No, in the book, Wuthering Heights.
In the book, okay.
In the book, yeah.
I knew there was a book. I didn't remember a man in the film clip. Okay.
No,
did they?
No, there isn't.
But it was your imagination.
Well, because it's called. Oh, well, I don't know. It's just the Wuthering Heights. I don't know if if the song featured in the movie or they did something. I don't know. I'm speaking out of memory, but there you go. Wuthering Heights, 78. Didn't realise.
There you go. Okay, Kate Bush in the 70s. And what was your word?
Move on, Louis. Move on. We've got to talk about cars now.
Yeah. But what was your word again? Rousing.
Okay. Yes, rousing.
Well, we had a very rousing last race, didn't we? The South African Grand Prix. So
we did.
Hopefully this continues.
Yes.
So we're up to race 4 of 16, the United States Grand Prix West, as it was called. So that's Long Beach, that's California, isn't it?
Yes.
2nd of April, 80.5 laps. We might come to that later. I'm not sure. I think it must be one of those things where they start the race in a different position to where they finish it because of the pit lane something.
Okay.
So the weather is warm and sunny.
30 drivers turned up to the track, but due to the track length, only 22 drivers were permitted to take part. So again, we see a pre-qualifying session with 8 drivers and only the top 4 going through, and the balance would be eliminated.
And those that made it were Patrese, the guy who nearly won the last race. He had to pre-qualify. Stommelen in the Arrows, Mazzario in... I can't remember that. I don't know what that team is. I may have written the wrong thing. He may have had his own team. And Lunga. Rosberg was one of those.
It's Mazzario in the Mazzario. You're right. It is his own. Okay. Yes, it is his own team.
And Rosberg was one who failed to qualify.
Oh, no. Well, we didn't even mention him in the last race. He was debuting at some, wasn't he? And he didn't even,
he didn't get our attention anyway.
No, not at all. So the Brabhams were doing really well in practice as they were finding their new car now with the adjustable fins well suited to the track. Most of the other teams were having a tough time with the bumpy track, giving the cars a real pounding.
So while McLaren and Lotus were having the most troubles, the Ferrari team did not have those troubles. And the Ferraris were enjoying the soft Michelin rubber, which was really synced well with the track. And Reutemann set a blistering time in the first session that would eventually become pole. That's how immediately on the pace they were.
Excellent. The Brabhams were up there. They were amongst the many Goodyear teams continually trying different tyres in the hope to find the perfect setup to get near the Michelin-shod Ferraris. Oh, I like these tyre wars, Louis. They're good.
When the final qualifying session came about, as expected, nobody could get close to Reutemann's time. But Villeneuve in the other Ferrari got within 0.2. So pretty good. Remember, he's essentially a rookie. Even though he did a couple of races last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he secured second place, which means we have an all Ferrari front row.
What a beautiful sight. What a beautiful thing to see.
And not bad for Villeneuve, his first experience at this track as well.
Okay. So Lauda was the only other driver to get under the 1 minute 21 mark, and he secured third in the Brabham Alpha, followed by Andretti in the Lotus, Watson in the other Brabham Alpha, and then Peterson in the other Lotus.
So the top six were Ferrari, Brabham and Lotus. So this will be an interesting race. So because of the drama that unfolded at the start of the 77 race, it was decided, and this is where the 0.5 comes in, it was decided to start the race from the other side of the circuit.
What? Just on the day of the race? What about if you bought tickets and you were in the grandstand on the start-finish line?
Well, I don't know when that decision was. I don't know if the decision was on the day or in advance.
Okay.
So I get what you're saying. But what I will say is you're probably still right. Even if it was decided like last year,
yes,
they probably didn't tell the fans.
No.
They wouldn't have told the fans anyway.
So now you're sitting like at a boring part of a straight where nothing happens. Yeah. So all the drivers lined up on the grid. The third race through this Californian resort was ready, and all the cars got away quite well, except Patrese. Who muffed a gear change.
Yeah, and was that your words or Mike Lang's words?
No, it's my words, but inspired by Mike Lang. Patrese got away after a car ran over his front tyre.
Well, as long as it's not his front wing. You know, the wing's worse maybe, but...
Yes.
Could wreck his suspension. So it was actually Reutemann who was leading, with Lauda and Villeneuve as close to him as humanly possible. That's a very aggressive term, isn't it? With Watson slotting into fourth. As Reutemann braked for the hairpin, Watson made a desperate attempt to take the lead by leaving his braking even later. And for a moment, it looked like Watson's move from fourth would pay off.
But then his Brabham began to drift wide, which forced Reutemann towards the centre of the track, which in turn balked Lauda, who himself was trying to go around the outside.
So in all this confusion, it was Villeneuve and the Ferrari who took advantage and took the lead, while Lauda's Brabham was hit by Andretti's Lotus, but luckily no damage was done.
That is an exciting battle for the lead there, Louis.
Yeah.
So up front, we have Villeneuve leading, with Watson second, Lauda third, Reutemann fourth, and for the first 9 laps, these four drove in absolute unison.
Watson was repeatedly trying to relieve Villeneuve of the lead. So he's really in a zone, isn't he? Until lap 10, when he heard a loud bang behind his head. Out.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I've said this a few times. I think Watson is the new Chris Amon / Sterling Moss.
Yes. We have one for every decade, don't we? So Moss was the 50s, Amon was the 60s, and now we've got Watson in the 70s.
Yeah, and there's Watson. He's trying to establish. I mean, he knows he's been signed. Like Lauda's the number one. He's a double champion, but look at him. He's really outperforming, and these things are happening to him. So it's not helping him trying to prove he can be number one. But I mean, it's Lauda. What are the chances?
Yeah. Yes, not great. But Lauda, he was now pressuring Villeneuve, and Villeneuve's in the lead, remember? So Lauda's right up there, and he would do this right up until lap 29, until Lauda's Alfa Romeo engine suddenly died. So the battle for the lead was suddenly off, and we now have a Ferrari 1-2. But it was not an easy situation, as Jones in the Williams was having an inspired drive and he was now right on Reutemann's tail.
They're not being given an easy time. And just a reminder, there are Lotus cars in this race, but they're not really competitive for some reason.
They're nowhere. Yeah.
Andretti was having tyre issues and was in fourth, having been passed by Jones, while Peterson was a few places further back with his own tyre challenges, and he was battling with midfield runners because he needed to pit for fresh rubber. So this is not a race to remember for Lotus.
No. In the meantime, Villeneuve was continuing to lead the race comfortably until lap 39, when he came up to lap Regazzoni and Jabouillet, who were fighting for 11th place. Oh no. In Villeneuve's eagerness to not lose any time lapping these back markers, he went to dive on the inside of the shadow.
In doing this, he struck the curb, then bounced into Regazzoni's left rear wheel, which sent the Ferrari airborne before it spun backwards into the wall and out of the race.
Oh, no.
Luckily, it was only Villeneuve's pride that was hurt and the youth of Formula One.
Yeah.
While leading a race. I mean,
all right, we need to pause
this is why people love Villeneuve, because he just goes for it, you know?
Yeah, but he went for it unnecessarily and he's out of the race. That was a risk too high for no reason. He could have just lapped these people. Like, what was his lead at this point in time? Like, this is 11th.
And this is lap 39. This is like halfway. So,
yeah.
Oh, look.
No, there's aggressive and then there's like a bit silly move.
Yeah. I think someone like Enzo Ferrari did like Villeneuve a lot. Like he saw Villeneuve as his son almost. Now this is obviously this is like the early days. Remember, Ferrari has been quoted as saying if a driver never has an accident, they're not pushing hard enough. This is playing to that, isn't it?
Yes.
So for Enzo Ferrari probably just patted him on the back and said, you're young, my son," something like that.
So the steady and mature hand of Reutemann is in the lead now, I think, and he still had a dogged Jones on his tail until Jones's front wing started to sag, and initially it did not hinder his performance until the fins started to scrape on the ground.
And then a few laps later, Jones's Williams started faltering as there was a misfire at peak revs, which enabled Reutemann to start to pull away, while Jones was starting to fall into the clutches of Andretti.
While Reutemann with Reutemann now no longer under any pressure, the race focus turned to the big duel for 5th place. Really, Louis? Between the Wolf of Scheckter and Tambay in the McLaren, but even that wouldn't last long because on lap 60,
Tambay pulled alongside Schechter's Wolf, exiting the hairpin, and as Scheckter fought off the challenge, the two cars collided. Tambay's McLaren was launched into the air, and while it landed okay, its front suspension was damaged, while Schechter's Wolf hit the wall and was damaged and out of the race.
Scheckter is also a very fiery driver, isn't he? Is he the one that had the nickname as like the young? Was he the one that caused that big accident at? Well, they say he caused it at the British Grand Prix that time. That big
they accused him. He's the one that they was
they wanted to call him
the young
banned.
hooligan. He was called the young hooligan, and he got banned. So in his younger days, he was seen as a. This is a more mature, older Scheckter now.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he still is caught up regularly in incidents like this. So meanwhile up front, Reutemann had his own drama as on lap 65 he did a 360 on the way out of a hairpin, but continued unaffected. Oh, that would have looked very graceful, I think. It would have entertained the crowd. Yeah. He would reel off the remaining laps to give the new Ferrari 312 T3 its first victory, and the Michelin tyres their second victory of the year.
Very good. So very good, pretty good for only 4 races, and Jones unfortunately fell further back and in the end finished a frustrating 7th out of the points, considering he was pushing Reutemann for the lead at one point until his front wing had that issue.
Yeah.
I think Jones could have won this. That's what I think.
Yeah, he was pressuring him, and then that Reutemann 360 would have given him a chance to get past
for sure.
him.
Yeah. And that's not Australia bias. It's like I think Patrese would have won as well, and I think Villeneuve probably would have won this race before any of them would have won it.
Oh, Villeneuve. Yeah. So Reutemann first, Andretti second, about 12 seconds back. Depailler a solid third in the Tyrrell from 12th on the grid. So that's pretty good. Peterson fourth, Lafitte fifth, and Patrese sixth.
And let's not forget he had to pre-qualify.
That's true. That's very true. Okay, so to the set standings, we have Reutemann and Andretti equal first place on 18 points. Ronnie Peterson and Patrick Depailler equal, I'm going to say second place on 14 points, and Lauda is fifth on 10 points. And in the constructors, Lotus is on 27, Ferrari on 18, Tyrrell on 15, Brabham on 14, and I'm just for you, Louis, Fittipaldi on 6.
Excellent. I'm impressed they're even up there. Good on them. So up to race 5 of 16 at the Monaco Grand Prix at Monte Carlo, as always, 7th of May, 75 laps, and the weather is warm and dry.
So we're heading into the first race of the European season, and we're at Monaco, as you said, and it's the limited track numbers challenge once again. This year they were permitting 20 cars only, with 24 permitted to take part in the practice sessions.
So this meant another pre-qualifying session, and again 8 drivers were impacted, with only the fastest 2 of these 8 being permitted to participate. So it's pretty full on.
Yeah, it is. So there were 2 30-minute pre-qualifying sessions, and they were hectic sessions. Daly managed to crash 2 Heskeths, one for each 30-minute session. It was, as expected, the 2 Arrows drivers dominating the session, with Patrese fastest, followed by Stommelen. I wonder why that was expected, that Arrows would dominate here, Louis. Maybe their car was suited to this track.
Yeah, their shadow car.
Yes.
So the reason the Arrows needs to keep pre-qualifying is because they are not members of FOCA, the Formula One Constructors Association. But the interesting thing was that the Automobile Club de Monaco had the right to select 2 drivers by invitation to negate the need to pre-qualify. And this invitation was given to, no surprise, Jabouillet in the Renault.
Okay.
And surprise, Jones in the Williams.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, I know that Monaco isn't French technically. It's its own country. But they do speak French there, and they're right near the French border.
Yeah.
So I can understand them choosing Jabouillet in the Renault, French car, French driver. But there's Ligier with Lafitte, same thing. Yeah. Why not René Arnoux? He's also French. But they chose Jones, the Aussie, in the Williams.
Probably politics. You know, they probably knew they couldn't get away with a double French. It would have just been too much to swallow. So let's just put in the Renault is the political government one, and another driver to not make that so obvious.
Yes, well, I think this is the start of some French biasness in the Formula One hierarchy, Luigi, which we'll get to it later in the 80s, perhaps.
We'll get to it. Okay. So to qualifying, it was again the informed Reutemann in the Ferrari who was quickly setting some very fast times. And he would even set a time that would become pole position early, again, like he did the last race. The 2 Brabhams were next, with Watson second and Lauda third, followed by Andretti using one of the older Lotus 78s at this track.
Watson's second fastest time was only 0.01 faster than Lauda, and most were surprised at Watson's turn of speed. We're not. He's been all the way. He's been up there all year. None more other than Lauda, who had assumed that the time he had set assured him of second place on the grid. I bet he's regretting giving him extra time in his car now.
Oh, that was earlier in the season, but okay, yeah. So on race day, the weather was clear and Reutemann got away quite poorly from pole, And it was Watson who was the first to reach Saint-Devote, with Depailler in the Tyrrell slotting into second place, following an amazing start from fifth on the grid. And we know at this track, passing is hard, even in these days.
Meanwhile, Reutemann had Lauda and Hunt all over him, and the three of them entered the chicane, where Reutemann's Ferrari was gently hit by Lauda's Brabham. This caused confusion for Hunt and caused him to hit the guardrail, damaging his nose cone and giving him a puncture. Oh.
Well, he's not having a great season, is he?
No.
No. Reutemann also discovered that he now had a puncture on his left rear, and like Hunt, was left to crawl back to the pits. So that's the end of that, I think.
Yeah. At the end of the first lap, we have Watson in the Brabham leading, followed by Depailler in the Tyrrell, Lauda in the other Brabham, and Andretti in the Lotus, Scheckter in the Wolf, and Jones in the Williams. Yeah, as you say, passing would be very difficult. So it was clear that the leading three of Watson, Depailler, and Lauda were starting to pull away from the rest of the field.
And Jones, while in sixth, was next to hit trouble as his oil tank developed a leak, which caused oil to go onto his rear brakes, which is not a good thing. And this not only made them smoke, which would have looked impressive and cool, but unfortunately it would compromise his effectiveness of braking.
Of braking, yes. The brakes would stop working, exactly, which I don't think you would want to experience driving around in a Formula One car.
Yeah.
So at the 20-lap mark, Depailler in the Tyrrell was consistently trying to find a way past the leading Watson, but Watson was defending really well. Interestingly, Reutemann, now with new tyres and sitting in front of these leading two drivers, was actually pulling away. So that Ferrari had some pace in hand here.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Lauda, discreetly watching the battle between Watson and Depailler from a few seconds back, decided it was now time for him to close in, which he duly did. And now Lauda was pressuring Depailler's second place Tyrrell.
As the race progressed, Reutemann and the leading trio were coming up on cars to lap, and the real trouble hit when Reutemann caught up to Depailler. The driver was given special permission to enter the Monaco Racing Board, race by the Monaco Racing Board, as we said previously. So he was there on as a special favour to him.
Yeah. But as a result of Reutemann being held up, and remember, the only reason we're talking about him is because he's gotten mixed up with the leaders, because he's nearly a lap behind them at this point in time, but he is faster than them, because remember, he set that incredible pole time.
Yes.
So he was in front of Watson, Depailler and Lauda. No doubt, I assume a blue flag's coming, but let's see.
Yeah, so we've got a pressure cooker situation brewing here. On lap 38, Watson, already struggling with his brakes, being less responsive, suddenly shot up the escape road because his brakes weren't working, I'm assuming. This not only cost him the lead, but also Depailler and Lauda took full advantage, and they closed up right behind Reutemann's Ferrari, which was still being held up by Depailler.
Oh, gosh, this has got disaster written all over it, hasn't it? You can just sense something is coming, right?
Yeah.
So by lap 45, Depailler and Lauda finally lapped Reutemann, and then the three of them finally forced their way past Depailler, and this was when Lauda started to have car issues. One of his rear tyres was losing air.
Lauda dove into the pits to have two tyres replaced. While the pit stop was very fast, it was enough to drop Lauda from a safe second to sixth place.
Meanwhile, up front, Depailler was now under no pressure at all, and he marginally increased his lead ahead of Watson, who himself was focusing more on the close-running trio of drivers that were closing up on him. Remember, Watson had fell back because of that escape road incident. And the three drivers catching him were Scheckter, Peterson and Villeneuve.
And let's not forget Lauda. Now with fresh tyres, he was on a major charge, catching everyone in front of him. The excitement kept coming as Peterson made many attempts to pass Scheckter until he suddenly took to the escape road with a broken gearbox.
Well, this race got a lot of drama. All the while, Lauda was catching Villeneuve by over a second a lap. And by lap 63, and remember this is a 75-lap race, he was right on Villeneuve's tail. Lauda was using every trick in the book to let Villeneuve know he was right on his tail, darting each and every way wherever possible. But Villeneuve was not allowing himself to be bullied.
That wouldn't be allowed now, would it, Louis? Darting.
Oh, but he was probably like making sure he looked like he was on both sides of the mirror. Like
yes.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's like, it's intimidation, but it's all fair, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I guess he could do it because he was behind.
He was
Villeneuve.
behind. Yeah.
So as the two cars entered the tunnel, the left front tyre on Villeneuve's Ferrari suddenly deflated. And before the French Canadian could do anything about it, he hit the guardrail. It tore off his front wheel and he was out. Oh,
wow.
Villeneuve.
So it worked. Lauda pressured him into a mistake. Villeneuve's young, remember?
I don't know. Was it a mistake? Because his front tyre suddenly deflated. Like,
okay.
I don't know that's because of the pressure.
I don't know. Yeah, I just jumped to that conclusion. You're right.
You did.
Yeah.
I know. When you said at the beginning of this season, Luigi, that this is where the Villeneuve legend begins, I didn't expect it to be one fraught with errors and crashes.
Yeah. But that is his thing, though. As in,
is that his thing?
Like, because when he does pull off the amazing passes, everyone goes, "Oh my gosh, how did he do that?" You know.
Okay, so it's high risk, high return.
Correct. Yeah, people love that.
Okay.
Anyway, amazingly, Lauda being so close behind did not get caught up in the incident and managed to avoid contact and actually moved up to fourth place as a result. And it was only 2 more laps before he was third because Watson was in front and he had just lost second place to Scheckter as he ran off the road at one of the chicanes. So it's a second off.
Can I just backtrack there and just say that is the mark of a really quality, skilled driver to avoid those things. I think that's what we remember Fangio and Ascari for, remember, back in the day, that just their awareness and their reaction times to be able to avoid things like that. Like I remember other drivers not being able to avoid things that Fangio did, like immediately behind him and stuff. So, we continually say, and I want to reiterate what an amazing driver Lauda is. So,
and this reminds me of that oil incident from maybe a year or two ago where he saw the oil, the other guy didn't.
Yes.
And we argued about whether that was – I changed my position. Initially I said it was lucky. Then I said it was not lucky.
It was skill. It was skill.
It was skill.
That's right. It's awareness and reaction times and skill. It wasn't mentioned if Watson waved him through, though, Louis, what you said there at the end, but I suspect he would have been. It was clear that Lauda had the pace. So let's not forget, as I said, he is a 2-time and defending champion. It was probably in Watson's contract to let him through.
And he had fresh tyres or fresher tyres.
Yeah, fresher tyres, yeah.
And in the meantime, Depailler, don't forget he's in the lead. It's easy to forget because we've been distracted. He reeled off the remaining 10 laps to earn his first, seems well overdue, first victory because he made his debut in 72 with Tyrrell. And this, not only that, it moved him to the top of the championship table.
Wow. That's 6 years ago. That's interesting. We've talked about him a lot, and this is his first win.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, Lauda was giving us some more excitement as he was setting lap records in his attempts to catch second place Scheckter. In fact, his time was even faster than his qualifying time. So he was flying.
Yeah. Lap 72, by lap 72, Lauda had caught Scheckter and actually passed him for second place as the South African was struggling with a broken second gear. As it was, he only just held on to third, because Watson was also closing in on Scheckter.
That's. I was going to say that's a big feat for Lauda to overtake on this track, but then you said it was because he had a broken second gear, so that makes sense. Yeah. Young guns Pironi and Patrese were having a huge duel for 5th and 6th, and they would finish only 0.7 of a second apart.
Okay, so that's Depailler's first win and first place. Lauda second, Scheckter third, Watson fourth, Pironi fifth, Patrese sixth. And just a side comment, Peterson would be watching this. I mean, Peterson has a few bad team moves in his career. I mean, he's in a top team in Lotus, but he's now seeing Tyrrell win the race, and Depailler is leading the championship. And Peterson left that team.
Yes. Yeah. I know. We did say, though, that it was a good move for him, didn't we?
Yeah.
For Peterson.
But as at whatever this is, May the 5th in 78, I think Peterson's thinking, I signed up to be number 2.
Yes.
And here's my other car leading the championship.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, as you say, Depailler is in the lead of the championship. He's on 23 points. Reutemann is second with Andretti on 18 points. Lauda is, I'm going to say, third on 16 points. And Peterson is fourth on 14 points. Lotus is in the lead of the constructors on 27, Tyrrell on 24, Brabham on 20, and Ferrari on 18.
Okay.
All right. Well, we might leave it there, Louis, and come back for the next part. I've forgotten which part we're up to, so I'm just going to say the next one.
Yep. Next one, part 4.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.